Hey guys, welcome back to Glass Overhaul Mod. Today, I added Funafuti. Thank you